Rosann, we've known each other for 3 decades.
Yes, a long time.
And you have been a professional counselor.
As you have been a professional counselor, how many people have we known in Hong Kong?
Yes, quite a lot.
So many different people.
And so many changes.
And that's why we want to think about women now and women then, and how women have changed over these years.
That must be very interesting.
Yes.
And it covered different generations.
Always.
Well, if they're interested in what we are talking about, how are they going to find us?
They're going to find us Tuesday night, 9 o'clock, PsychoAlchemy. We are Women Now and Then.
See you there.
Hello again, everyone. It's so nice to be back with my friend Dorothy and with all of you. For those of you who have seen us before, you remember we started out a few sessions back talking about, well, who we were. Dorothy's a counselor and so am I, but she's a trainer, I'm a teacher. And we moved on to the whole question of identity, like exactly who you are. Why this fascinates us is because women change in every time period in history. Our roles change. And this time period in history, there's so many roles for women, we thought we better start with identity. From identity, we moved on to exploring the different stages in a woman's life. We all start out as children, and then teenagers, young women, and into the 30s, into the 40s, the big 50, the big 60, the big 70, and onwards. So we're looking at women over the years then, and how women felt, and now, how do women feel? Having explored some of that, we then moved on to very practical matters. Money. How much money does a woman need at each stage in her life? And some of you said it's not a question, and others said no matter what stage of life, more money was needed. So we got to that. Now, today, we're going a little softer. We're moving away from the practicalities a bit, because we have to think about relationships. Dorothy, how would we start thinking about relationships?
Well, actually, the best way to start relationship is to wear properly. So without talking to each other, we both decided to wear something pink.
Yes.
Right? And the result turns out to be pretty good.
Yes.
Yeah. Rosann has a little touch of Chinese, and I definitely wearing a Chinese jacket, and it's a Chinese vest.
Yes.
And at the same time, if you notice, it's actually the cherry blossom, the flowers. So I think relationship to a lot of people really make a woman grow, blossom.
That's true.
Right?
Women blossom in relationships. Women blossom in relationships. Yes.
And I think both me and Rosann, counselor, we have such a good relationship with people. And relationship is definitely our expertise. But I can see that even though maybe the majority of our audience are women, sometimes they have difficulties in relationship.
Women are good at relationships, and relationships drive women crazy sometimes.
Yeah, because we are so keen on having a relationship. Well, sometimes maybe we sacrifice ourselves too much. And I also see a lot of people, a lot of women, actually, I would say step on their own self-esteem, in order to keep a relationship. So maybe for this show, and maybe even a few more coming up, we are going to focus on relationship. I dare not say that we have answers to a lot of relationship
But we're going to bring up those points.
Yes.
We don't have the answers, but there are things we need to open up, like the blossoms in spring. Open them up.
Rosann, I'm more thinking of the Pandora box. Maybe to a lot of you, it's better just swap it under the carpet. Don't think about it, and then tell everybody every relationship is the same. So don't expect too much. I think me and Rosann had a different approach. We think that there's a lot of things we can look into, address it, and be a little bit more greedy. Don't just
Oh.
satisfy for what you
Yeah,
have.
yeah.
Dare to question your relationship, or
Yeah.
maybe in this coming episode or many more to come, you will get something out of this show.
Yes.
And improve your relationship.
Many of you have told us that you get something out of the show because you hear the slight difference, because Dorothy is obviously younger than I am, and she's grown up in an Asian culture generally, though a lot of exposure to Western standards,
Yes.
Western setting. And I am an older person, so I've seen more years, I've felt more years. And I'm an American and only relatively new in Asia, only 40 years. So it's not quite enough. Now, when we talk about relationships, we got to make it clear from the beginning. Relationships are not always logical. Relationships are based on feelings.
Yes, yes.
And feelings can be confusing.
Yeah, and tricky.
And tricky, and many of us can hold more than one feeling at the same time.
Yeah.
You love someone, but you're still very angry with him. Could that?
Oh,
Yes.
definitely. Yeah, you are so glad to see him back after maybe a working week. But then when he comes back to you, you stir up a lot of negative emotion because during that week he had been away. He never called you, WhatsApp you, and you suddenly become very jealous. You know, how come
Yes.
he can be away to a foreign country, have his own good time, and whereas you have to stay at home taking care of the naughty children, right? So
Or the in-laws.
all the in-laws,
Not the children, maybe the older folk,
Older folk,
Dorothy.
yes,
Or
yes.
maybe the neighbor who's been giving you a problem all along. Look at George, he's your friend. You deal with him. Welcome back, George.
Welcome back. Yeah, and relationship is something I would say 85% of my counseling is related to that.
yeah.
Relationship with the parents, relationship with the spouse, relationship with the children, relationship with the in-laws, and in the workplace, relationship with your colleagues, your boss, your client. So everything is about relationship. But the thing is, if we focus too much on the feelings, it's not going to work. Right, but
Okay.
if you are too rational, you will never know what's going on.
Oh, yeah.
So this balance is so difficult.
Ah, yes. Ah, yeah. And with the balance comes expectation.
Yes, yes.
How do you expect your colleague to behave? Well, if I cover telephone calls while she's on break, she said she'd only been gone 20 minutes, but she was gone an hour. So I have all of her emails in to follow up. Is that fair? But the colleague could say, well, I did the same for you last week. Why didn't you tell me you were fussy about time? How do we
Yeah.
know when it's logical, when it's reasonable, or when it's not?
And also, if you want to have a relationship, whether honesty is a good policy, or sometimes you just be polite, or maybe some of the things you are not going to say maybe will not ruin the relationship. So maybe one thing we need to address is whether honesty save a relationship, or some sort of white liar can make the relationship more, longer time and maybe better. So there are so many things we can cover.
Yes,
So
yes,
so what's your agenda? Otherwise, we are going to talk about what we are going to talk about.
Okay. All right.
All right. What do you think?
Well, let's talk about expectations.
Okay. Yes.
Okay, the big deal all the time
Yes.
is the woman and the man. Let's get to this relationship.
Okay.
Though the more basic one might be the woman and her mother, or her mother and her sisters,
Ooh.
how she grew up. So, Dorothy, you want to do the man? Because that's what a lot of people ask us about.
Yeah.
Or should we do the mother?
Okay, I would suggest, I think for a lot of audience might think, oh, the man. But I wait, okay? We're definitely going to spend more time with the men. But I would suggest for the first episode on relationship, I would like to focus more on our relationship with our family of origin.
Okay, let's
Because
do that.
how we are today is greatly influenced by what happened at home.
Yes.
And our first relationship with our father and our mother are definitely going to affect all our relationship with our men. and and maybe our relationship with women.
Yes.
So do you
yes.
think that's a good idea?
Oh, let's start with that.
Yeah. Okay.
Most women are very happy with the baby. They many have longed to have a baby, even the second baby or the third baby. After 3 children, maybe you're not so longing. And of course, it depends on the economic and geographic status where this woman is.
Yes.
But most women spend a lot of time just holding this child. It's considered, to some extent, fulfillment of womanhood. If you are a person
Yes.
who's produced a child, you gain status
Yes.
in a
yes,
community.
Yes. Yes.
So the mother usually feels pretty good about this child. And all that goes with the very early years of learning to eat, learning to sit at a table, learning to walk. The mother takes great pride in watching this infant become a toddler.
Ah, okay. Good. But can we slow down a little bit and
Yes.
backtrack a little bit?
Backtrack.
Right. I can see it's basically it's our woman's nature
Yes.
to really want to nurture a baby,
Oh,
right?
yes.
But if think about women then, right?
Yes.
Like many years back in a Chinese or in a village or in maybe even though I think it's even the same with a lot of women from the previous generation, older generation. Once they have a child, they it's like a hope. I mean for
Yes.
Chinese, once you have a child, especially a son, it creates so many blessings from everyone around you, as if like, oh, Rosann, from now on you have your son, life is going to be good. If your husband, no matter what happened to your husband, you have a child, he is going to take care of you.
Oh, yes.
So the whole idea is once a woman had a child, her future just brighten up. So that's why you can see, even I think even now, the mother hold the baby is not just a mother nature. I think in our genes, we really
Yes.
think that's hope.
That
and
is.
we Chinese have a say.
Let's hear.
Is I say try to translate it.
Okay,
It's
no.
like, oh my son, right? 仔啊仔，命啊命，命啊命 means oh my life, my life. So it's like my son means my life. It's
Yes.
the most important thing in my life. So you can see the relationship with the child, the
Yes.
mother and the child, is so, I would say, it's a blessing to the mother.
Yes.
Without knowing from now on, her hands are being tied with a lot of things to do. But deep down inside, she has all these high hope, not just for the child, but also for herself. But that was then, because having a child creates so much social status to the woman. And I think it's more or less the same for Italian, right? You are more...
Oh, the
Yeah.
famous Italian actress said, "We love our husbands for as long as we can. We love our children forever." Which gives us the feeling that there must be a different kind of love that
Yes.
goes into the child. That child is defining the woman's life
Yes.
forever.
Uh-huh.
We love our husbands for as long as we can. It's a different kind of love. Different kind of love.
You know, when you said that, I really think it's so... we this show is cross culture, right?
Yes, yes.
So I really marvel at the Westerners. They are so direct. You know, I think a lot of Asian women have the same feeling, but they dare not say that.
Said it more graciously, my life, my life. Yeah. For as long as we can. Yes.
So
But
yeah,
Yeah,
go ahead.
no, it goes back even further. If you just bear with me, before we had cities, before we had farms, in the hunter-gatherer societies, women were pregnant a lot of the time,
yes,
of course.
yes.
And she could count how many children she bore. He doesn't know how many children, but she knows exactly
Yeah,
how
right.
many. And so then her role was defined by she's nursing a child, or she's helping a child learn to walk, or she's teaching a child how to cook. But before we get to any kind of tools or organized civilizations, the role of woman is defined
Yes.
because she's the one who has to take care of the children.
Yes, yes.
It's her body that provides the milk, but she's there. I mean, the child doesn't walk away when you stop nursing. And so, by simple addition, if you're going to be here with 2 children, take care of this older person as well.
At the same time.
So I do wonder about this caring that we know is we intuitively know it's part of a woman's nature to care. Could a man do that much caring?
Interesting.
I've thought about this, and I think the reasons that we have matured as Homo sapiens is that somebody had to do the caring.
Yes, otherwise we'd be gone, right?
Maybe someone had to do the caring. So we have all those hormones that generate the interest in the young, those growing up, and the very old.
You know, when you said that, one concept immediately pop up. Maybe you can clarify for me. In our last 2 sections, we talk about body, right?
Oh yes.
So I think
We're
basically
always talking about women.
our bodies
body.
were born differently, right? Our whole system is to nurture a child.
Yes.
Even our sex organ is more subtle, right? Unlike
yes.
the man's penis is like
Right out
right.
there.
So you can imagine one is more withdraw, nurturing, caring, and the other one, the man, is more like aggressive, forward, getting. So I can understand why women will be quite settled if we have to stay in the village, in front of a bonfire, whatever, nurture the kid and start talking.
Yes.
Because we cannot go out to the forest to hunt. We take care of our babies, our toddler, our children, and the old people. So we are so good at sitting around and sharing each other's stories.
I think that's how we became so good at communicating.
Yes, yes.
Because it's very difficult for a woman to take care of a child or 2 children or 3 children all by herself. So women would team up.
Yes.
Of course they would team up.
Yeah.
Communication flows.
Yes.
Communication flows.
Yes. Yeah.
Easy.
And also, women just know how to carry the baby. So
Yes.
just imagine if you are busy, something happened, you just take the baby and just give it to
the next one.
and that woman immediately know how to do it, right?
Of
And
course.
help to take care and nurture the child. So I would say women relationship with women is really in our blood, in our DNA.
Yes.
And I think this relationship is so unique. This sisterhood, motherhood, and women's bonding. And a lot of men will simply come to me, and they come to see me, they'll say, I just don't understand. How come my wife can be so easy, can be so easy to talk to another woman? In some sort of function, they met each other maybe for 3 minutes and they start talking about their children, their husband and everything, sharing notes and everything. Whereas the man, I know this guy for almost 5 years working together.
Never talk.
I have no idea what he's doing, whether he's married or not, what's going on with his work life and family life. So I think this is an interesting thing on how women deal with relationship when compared to men. Right.
And what we need to move on to,
Yes.
maybe in the next segment, is things are changing now. Women are not having children. Women are choosing not to marry. So if they don't marry and they don't have children, then how do we account for the relationships, women to women?
But then I have this warning sign, right, as if it's yi. If women were born to do all this nurturing, taking care of, and suddenly this natural abilities were being taken away, and maybe we because we are not married, we don't have children. So where will all this energy, this strength, I would say that power, where would that go?
And that's where we go.
Yes.
Next segment.
We're going to talk about that.
Okay, we're going to talk about it.